Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Topics and Tidbits live stream. We are back this week. I apologize. We had intended to go live last week and I was under the weather. And so we didn't pull things together. I was able to put up our resort, or Riviera Resort room tour in lieu of that and posted some things on Facebook. But we're here and we've got a lot of news. So before I forget, let me introduce myself. My name is Jennifer McCormick, and I'm here with my good friend Catherine.
Yes, hi. Nice to be back. We have so much to talk about. It's crazy.
I know. Well, and the announcements are coming fast and furious. We were just talking about this that, we'd really like to talk more about Universal, and we've got a little bit of Universal news, but most of what we have is Disney because whew, Disney's keeping us busy. There's just a lot going on.
It's so true.
Oh,
It's so true.
yeah. But before we get started, I just wanted to put out that our thoughts are with everyone who's been impacted by Hurricane Ida. Just devastating circumstances, and we're all thinking about you and just hoping that everything comes out well on the other end. So hang in there.
Absolutely. And we have some
Yeah.
agents in that area too.
Right.
So thinking about all of them as well. So.
Absolutely. Well, gosh, where do we start? I mean, I think the big news over the past couple of weeks is that Disneyland and Disney World both restarted their basically their annual pass holder programs. And so that's something that I know a lot of people have been awaiting. I don't know if it's more in Disneyland or Disney World because I mean, Disneyland has so many local pass holders. That's so much of what the park attendance is. But they're not calling their passes annual passes. They're calling them magic keys. So they totally rebranded.
I was gonna say, I mean, they are,
but it's
really
an annual
making it sound,
pass.
making it sound different for sure. So.
Right. And there are different phases, both with the annual passes and at both parks and the Magic Keys with blockout dates and what's available. And so it's interesting to see. They are different programs than they were before, and the chatter all over the place. Is on different sides, I think, of the coin. And so we'll see where it ends up when they go on sale. I know the Disney World annual passes were just announced. They go on sale September 8th. And I've already talked to plenty of folks who've never had an annual pass before who are really ready to buy them. So we'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, well, I think you have all the people who've been waiting,
Right.
because again, that froze. It's been quite a while since you could get an annual pass for Disney World. So the fact that that came out, were you surprised it came out this week?
Well, they had said it was going to come out I thought at some point in time they had said it was going to come out by the end of August. I mean, a long time ago, this summer, when people were asking about it. And then it kind of was in my mind. And over the weekend, I thought, well, it's almost the end of August.
I kind of thought we hadn't heard about it yet. I mean, we knew leading into the 50th. And I texted Jennifer the other day too. We were looking at the park calendar. It opened up.
Right.
Talk about that. The reservation that had opened up a bit. So we didn't, but yeah, so that's exciting for those who love annual passes or just considering it. A lot of different levels and ways. So we can guide you through that too if you have questions about that. But
yeah. Well, I have a few clients who are banking on it. They had rooms booked and packages, and if they had to do the packages, great, they would do their room and tickets. But they're really waiting on annual passes so that at their first trip they could upgrade and then use them for their second trip. And so it sounds like they're pretty jazzed.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Again, if you visit, you can figure it out in terms of how many times you visit that it can pay for itself. But there's some great discounts built into that too. So again, another one of those signs of normalcy that something such a
tradition. Absolutely. So yeah, I guess we'll see. Our annual passes for my family aren't up until Christmas, which isn't we had, an extension because of the holiday, or because of the holiday, because of COVID, and because of everything going on. But normally we wouldn't go over the holidays. And now I wonder, do we need to seek in another trip? Because sometimes we renew, and sometimes if it'll be a while before we visit again, if it's, several months, then we'll wait until that next trip and then just buy a new pass and make sure that we bookend it. And inevitably we plan multiple trips in between. So
Right.
having a
If
pass
you hadn't
begets
noticed,
having more
yeah,
trips,
Jennifer's
right?
family, yeah, is there a few times, yeah,
Right. I mean,
right,
every time there's good flights and, decent prices, we hop on down. And so
right.
I think, that remains to be seen. But
Mhm.
I know I almost feel like I have to go back before.
I know.
Uh, anyhow,
We're
that
on the
remains
count.
to
We're
be
both on a
seen.
countdown for a trip too. It's hard to
Yeah,
believe. I don't.
I think where are you at? I'm at 28 days.
Yeah, so I think I'm
Okay.
30, so
Okay.
super close. Yeah,
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
And I mean, my kids have started back to school. Jennifer start next week. Is
Next,
that
the
last?
9th. They don't go back till the September
Oh
9th.
gosh.
Right. Right. We just have orientation in 2 days, in a couple of days
Okay.
for
So
school. So
we've
it's been a
talked.
whirlwind.
It
Yeah.
has. So we've talked about that the summer feels like a blur. I think that's where it's hard to believe this is the last day of August for me, at least.
I
There's
know.
also those fall holidays are coming up, so we'll talk about that too. But
Well, and the winter holidays are coming up too.
mhm,
So
absolutely.
Christmas will be here before you know it. I mean, it really will. And if folks are looking for a trip around that time, you may already be too late. But if you are thinking about traveling in December, let us know, or your favorite Mickey Travels agent, give them a call, because resorts are booking up fast, so
Mhm,
fast. And
absolutely.
so, yeah, there are times when I would see regular availability for a certain week, and then I have someone contact me and I'm like, well, let's try this week first. And all of a sudden that week is even more booked. So
Yeah. And I think we know there's more availability, but it's not out yet
right.
necessarily. And again, because of staffing and so many reasons, and again, and we haven't talked about that. I don't think we talked about that last time,
Mm-mm.
how open the parks are, and again, still keeping those resorts, they can keep up with all the cleanliness and things like
Right.
that. So yeah, if you're thinking about that, it's just a good idea to go ahead and book that, so you have your dates. I know we both run into that with clients who have specific dates in mind and they're just not available,
Hmm.
and that's hard if those are the only dates that work for you. So
Right.
definitely
Right.
reach out to us or your favorite Disney vacation planner to get that on the books. And who doesn't need something to look forward to right now? I mean,
Right. Absolutely.
anytime, but especially right now.
We don't talk about this, but with both Disney and Universal packages, the deposits are nominal. And
Mhm.
so at Disney, it's a $200 deposit for your package. Remaining balance due 30 days before you travel. At Universal, it's $50 per person. Remaining balance due 45 days before you travel. And so then you can make payments as you go. So it's not like you have a huge down payment. Your deposits are refundable until your final payment date. And so it really makes a lot of sense if you think you might want a trip to get it on the books, to get that deposit in, because then you can start making payments toward it. If something happens and you can't go, you're not out that money. You do get it
Right.
back.
Right.
If you're before that final payment date in, both of those locations. And so just something to keep in mind
Mhm.
that, it makes sense to put it on the calendar and start, working toward it, because you just never know what availability is going to look like.
Right. Well, and one little tip too. I know Jennifer is from the land of Target.
Yes, I am.
So there's those. And where I am and where I lived previously to this, Giant Eagle is a large grocery chain, Kroger, things like that. So if you're buying gift cards, you can kind of sometimes double dip on gas discounts and other things. So the Target card is another thing. There's a lot of places like that.
5%.
So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So there's ways of you can pay with a Disney gift card. You can do combinations as well. So that's something to just think about too. A little extra savings or some extra points or using that Disney Visa and racking those reward dollars up, always a good thing. So
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I pay for most of my Disney trips,
mhm,
is with
mhm.
discounted gift cards. Because if I'm spending, $1,000 and I can get 5% back by buying the gift cards, with my red card, then yeah, that's money. That's real money.
Right,
That's
that is. And so we always will tell you, any good vacation planner will tell you, you want to hold on to those gift cards. It's our PSA every time until you come back from that trip. So again, if think about COVID and that happened, so people getting those refunds go back to the point of sale. They go back to those gift cards, but you just make sure you hold on to those. But again, it's just a great way. I know we've had grandparents and other people buy gift cards for the kids to take on the trip. So that's a great way for souvenirs or things like that. You can control it a little bit, but they think it's cool to have a gift card. So lots of ways, especially with holidays coming up. That's a great way, even to announce a trip. Maybe they open a little gift card or something.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. Or those magic bands.
Yeah.
That's a fun way.
Magic bands. This, again, if you follow us, and again, if you have any questions tonight about anything, please drop that in the comments and let us know. We appreciate all of you that are subscribing and following us and hitting that bell icon so you are alerted when we go live. But try to drop those. We'll try to see those and answer those. And if we don't get to it now, we will later. Again, speaking of news today, I mean, Jennifer and I kept texting. Things kept dropping, but a very exciting magic band was announced as well. So, and shockingly, one of us already has purchased it. For her whole
family. We didn't just get one, we got 4.
Right. So
50th anniversary Disney World magic bands, but I mean, how many 50th anniversaries are there going to be at Disney World? So.
It's really pretty. It's super cute. It is. So I think we're going to see, there's been a lot of 50th news rolling out. And again, the 50th will be celebrated for 18 months. So there is time to still enjoy all the fun that is coming. We'll be there that first day, but again, we'll be back multiple times, I'm sure, before the end of it.
Right.
But the magic band was a really cool thing. They've announced some swag and we've seen pictures of that, but the band looks so cute. What a great little thing to remember.
I know, and I cannot tell a lie. Like, I've looked at all of the merchandise that comes out and none of it speaks to me. Like all of the pictures, and I think I really want to buy something. I like our t-shirts better. So we have 50th anniversary t-shirts. So, I can put in the comments and drop again in the Facebook page. I just like the colorful, and I wasn't seeing what I was really looking for in the merchandise at Disney so far. So I think my plan is to go to the 50th anniversary and buy an ornament. Just to have.
That's what we do not every time, or our tree would tip over, but that is the one. And we actually go to the Christmas shop at Disney Springs. So there's just a whole shop that is all Christmas. My oldest is obsessed with Christmas, always has been. But we buy an ornament to commemorate those trips. And so what a great way every year to take it out. Or there's a lot of other keepsakes like that if you don't have a Christmas tree. But I'm with you on that. I haven't been sold on quite anything. I mean, we'll find something they like before we leave.
Right.
But the magic band was really cool. So for those who don't know, magic bands are, I was going through magic bands. And so look how tiny, I don't know if you can tell, like this is like when one of my kids were little and went, like so cute. Tiny. But again, some of us have a lot of magic bands from our trips, and they used to be complimentary. There is a nominal fee, really, for being
unless you get the 50th anniversary one, and then
that one is slightly more. You might want to buy some. Yeah. So that one is 30.
30, yeah.
But again, it all depends. Some people use the same magic bands every time they go back. It's all personal preference, really, and what you like. There's just is that convenience factor of using them. So that's a nice thing. If you don't do magic bands, there's options for that. You get the card. It's just the convenience. And if you have little kids, or let's be honest, really anyone, they all like swiping, hitting it lights up and everything. So that's really cool. The adults like that too. I have to say, it's just one less thing to worry about, which is nice.
I agree. I really do. And speaking of, using your magic band, for park entry, so Disney World has reinstituted the biometric finger scanners, and they had been doing that for a while and then pulled them back for COVID. And interestingly, like Universal never stopped. They had continued to use their finger scanners, and Disney just didn't. And so now that, we're not quite as concerned about, the germs upon contact, you can just use your finger scan and then you use some hand sanitizer and you're good to go. But That's back. And I think that's important because I know that it was an epidemic in before times that folks would try to share, passes or tickets, and it, it makes sense that your ticket is your ticket for the length of your stay, or your annual pass is your annual pass. And that's one of the major ways that they, identify folks. And it's not your fingerprint, it's a biometric scan, which is different. But those are back.
Yeah. And so for those who haven't been there, you're scanning your band and then you're just putting your finger on a little thing, and that says that it's you. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. So what
It
other
moves quickly.
news?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
I
So
know.
much.
What
I
other
know. I got off on a
news?
tangent. Yeah.
No, no, not
I'm
at
excited about
all.
those bands. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so I'm not sure if this was the case with the last time we talked, but Ratatouille is open. It's open for cast member previews. And
Mhm.
so, and pretty soon annual pass previews will start. I get to go to the last day of those, but we had shared a video, gosh, maybe it was last week, of Magical News Live, Nick with Magical News Live, who has already gone on Ratatouille, who I think maybe live streamed or had a video. I'm not sure
I think
which.
I can't remember, but
But
content is
yeah,
in there.
it's all scroll on our Facebook page because
Hmm.
it's there. And so if you're interested to see what Ratatouille looks like, it's out there. So I'm hoping, I don't know what it'll be like to take video in there. I'm hoping to take video when I finally do go, which will be September 28th,
I know.
provided my flight gets in on time.
Yes. Yes.
But it looks super cute. I was so excited to see it because one thing that I loved about Ratatouille in France is that it went back and forth between French and English. And that's the case
Mm,
here. The script seems exactly the same. I was talking to my husband about it, and he's like, well, why wouldn't it? Like Three Caballeros goes back and forth between
sure.
Spanish and English, like different rides will do that already. It's
Hmm.
just that, I recognize the French and, more than
Right.
Spanish because that's the background language that I have. And so I thought it was really charming that it's completely understandable. But for those of you who've never been to Disneyland Paris, if you're thinking about going, if you go on the Ratatouille ride and you're noticing that they're speaking, French and English, and you still totally follow the story, that's exactly how all of the rides are there. And
Mm,
so it's either, and then the rides go back and forth. And so for Disneyland Paris, like if you are riding, Tower of Terror. So their Tower of Terror ride, you'll go to the pre-show and it seems like it must be, one of each. So it depends on which pre-show room you end up in. You'll have French with English subtitles or English with French subtitles. And so you get both of it in that
mm,
experience because that's a ride that we love. So we go on it over and over and over again. Same thing with Star Tours. And so, if people are apprehensive to go to Disneyland Paris because of, being apprehensive about the French, go on Ratatouille. If you love that ride, or if you feel like the language is completely understandable, then that's what it's like. It's exactly
right.
Disneyland
Yeah.
Paris too. So very accessible.
Yes. So that ride opens October 1st at Epcot.
Yeah.
So I know, I think we'll all be there on the 2nd. Um, I'm sure the line will be insane. I'm hoping some magical thing happens that
Right.
somehow everything gets on. So we'll see.
It'll be busy regardless.
It
It's
will,
just
and that's okay. And I'm just excited too, because again, we both love Epcot. We love it. So to have another ride there will be great for those families who think, oh, is there enough to do? There's plenty to
there's
do.
plenty. Yeah.
Another attraction, and that again has seamlessly been built right in. It just looks so good.
Absolutely.
Getting
Yeah.
closer to that, so that's
I
exciting.
know, I know. And I guess in other Epcot news, if you do follow us on Instagram or Facebook, I finally got around to taking a look at all of the fun food we have there. And I have posts scheduled, not every day, but several days a week. So you can see all of the fun food from the different kiosks because, of course, the Food and Wine Festival goes on, until November. And
Mhm.
so this is something where if you've got a trip scheduled until November, you're planning on going to Epcot, taking a look at these things. I don't know about you, but I like to pre-plan my food. I love food pictures. Oh, there's nothing better than looking at something and saying, yeah, I want that, or maybe I don't want that. So
Mhm.
plenty of food pictures to be had
Yes.
in the next few weeks. So enjoy. Let me know if you've got questions about anything.
Right, right. Well, and there's so much. I mean, that's a great, we talk about this a lot too, why that festival is so good. It's one of my favorites. I'm so excited to be back. It's been a long time for me. But that you get to try so many different things that you normally wouldn't, and you're great picturesque place. And also, again, if you go up to a kiosk and maybe the people you're with aren't interested in it, you have to stroll just a little bit further to another kiosk for them to get something. So that's one of the nice things about it as well, too. So it's a very festive place to be always, but especially during food and wine.
A lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got some Disney Springs news.
We didn't get to this last time we chatted. So it
No,
made it back
no.
onto the list of things to talk
I know,
about
I know.
too. So for that, the ESPN experience will not be reopening. So if you are trying to, I wasn't sure what that expression was.
I
Not
was
heartbroken.
confused by the ESPN experience at the beginning. Like before it even started, I thought, huh, I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I don't,
Yeah. It was not, I mean, it wasn't a big, it clearly was not doing as well if it's not
no.
reopening. So if that's something you've done in the past, that will not be there.
Well, how long
But
was it open?
I
I
feel
mean,
like, oh gosh,
it was more in the months range than even a year, wasn't it? Or was it open a year?
I feel like it was open a while, but I feel like I have no sense of time. Like the
Yeah,
pandemic
right.
was, who knows? It could be a long time. I don't, yeah. So not a huge loss. We will say that there'll be something else. I'm sure that'll be coming in.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like a draw.
No, I don't think for all the things you can do there, if that would really be a destination, or it was
Right.
geared maybe towards more locals who might go to it, not necessarily a family with just a day off that would head
Right.
there.
Right.
But we could be wrong.
Yeah,
So,
right.
and then Drawn to Life, which is presented by Cirque du Soleil, is scheduled to open on November 18th. So tickets go on sale. They're on sale already for that event as well. So that is a true experience too. So if you,
No, I don't know why. It just felt like a really quiet announcement. Like
well, I think
there
it could have
wasn't
gotten
a whole lot,
lost.
right, with
Yeah,
all the other news
absolutely.
that was coming out at the same time. And
Sure.
so I think a lot of us, I was waiting for it because it was
Hmm.
so hyped
Hmm.
originally that it was, a specific Cirque du Soleil, specifically
Hmm.
Disney, um, branded and, it's specifically Disney.
Right.
And so we were really waiting for it pre-COVID, and it was supposed to open, I think, late March, maybe early April, like
I think so.
right
Right.
after
Yeah.
everything shut down.
Right. Right.
And then this announcement came out, and it was sort of just hidden among all the rest of the announcements. But at the same time, I guess there have been so many announcements that it just
Right.
wasn't the first thing to hype. But I'm really excited. I think it'll be an incredible show.
Hmm.
Um, Cirque du Soleil is always an amazing performance. So definitely worth it. If you're looking for something to do on an off park day or, just in town and not necessarily even going to the parks, it's something to,
Hmm.
to look into. It looks really beautiful.
Absolutely. Yes. So if you've not seen a show, it really is
Yeah.
extraordinary and each one is so different. So
I don't know.
definitely.
I was worried at first because at the beginning of the pandemic, there were news stories about Cirque du Soleil having issues with like bankruptcy, and I didn't
Yes. Me
follow
too.
it very
Hmm.
closely,
Hmm.
but I thought, oh man, is this show not even coming after all of that? And so it's
Right.
coming. It's opening
Yes.
soon.
It's
So
really
that's
exciting.
exciting. Yeah. All right.
More things. And then dining, we were laughing about this. Maybe not everyone will be excited about this, but your garden, which is up at Epcot. And again, I think one of those kind of, I don't know if hidden gem is the right word, but just kind of a pass by. People don't think of it as much, but
Mhm.
the buffet has returned. So it was family style before that, but the true buffet experience is back. Right now, we have a reservation for it
Yes, we do.
during our trip. We are fans.
Yeah,
Unless we
yeah.
score something different, you never know with us.
Right,
But that is
right,
the plan. It's a great one. We'll have a good sized group that's together as well.
right.
So we're looking forward to that as
No, and Boma is a buffet. So Boma is a restaurant at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Animal Kingdom Lodge just recently reopened. Boma is a fan favorite, and so if you haven't been there, if you're looking for a breakfast or a dinner, that's just a little bit different. I mean, it's really got something for everyone. It's got some of the more complex flavors of African Asian cuisine, but also at breakfast you're going to find Mickey waffles and Simba waffles, and at dinner you're going to find zebra domes and
well.
and everything else. but it was exciting to see that that was open. But I'm really excited about Beer Garden. That was one that it took us years to find. And
Mhm.
then once we found it, I think it's just because there's so much good food in Epcot
Absolutely.
that you
Absolutely.
can't, I mean, you just can't try it all and see it all and do it all the time. So,
Right. Or you just might not gravitate to that, but it
right,
is especially, I mean, with music, live music and
right.
entertainment, it's just a great experience. So a great place to keep your littles entertained while you're sitting, have a large
Yeah.
beverage perhaps, but it's a really fun
Grapefruit
activity.
Schofferhofer. You can get
I
a
know, I was
liter.
looking, I was hoping, that's not what I'm drinking tonight. I'm pretending that's what it is,
Oh,
but
okay.
I should have gotten one. They're good. Just
Good
tastes
stuff.
better in Germany at Epcot. Yeah, true.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
So we already talked about park reservations a little bit, but again, really key to make sure you have those as soon as you get your trip booked. Look at that calendar when you're looking at dates. And like we mentioned, I didn't go on today, but we're seeing a lot more availability than we were seeing before, at least for October. I can't say I
Right.
went further than that. That is changing by the day, of course,
It looks
as
full
well.
again today. So I'm wondering, like a
Mm,
lot of I looked at October 1st and 2nd, and they
yeah.
were full for Magic Kingdom and Epcot again today, and they
Okay.
had been open. But I know that a few days ago, some of our friends in the UK and other parts of Europe have been having their flights canceled. And so I personally know a few folks who had been looking forward to coming to the 50th for years, literally. And so these were trips, I mean, 3-week long trips that had been planned because a lot of folks that I know from Europe are traveling, to have spend a longer time when they're here.
Right.
And unfortunately, it sounds like a bunch of those trips were canceled at the same time when airlines canceled their flights. And so,
Sure.
yeah, so I wonder if a bunch of those popped open because
That
a
could
bunch of
be.
the
I
airlines
just might have, it
canceled
was just so
flights.
freak to see that
Right.
like that. So, but again, the key to have those, even if you have a March 2022 trip planned, you want to go ahead and just get those in there and locked in. You can always modify based on availability, but at least you have
Yeah.
that done too.
Well, I think we
But
should say with
yeah.
Disneyland, you can
Mhm,
make your reservations if you have a package reservation, I mean, or tickets, you can
mhm.
make your park reservations 120 days in advance. And so I mean, that's out there too
Right.
now. So,
Right.
I always remind folks, when they book with me, and that's 120 days to each day, but you just never know because you're booking that right now, Christmas, New Year's week. And so that could, I mean, it could fill.
Right.
So it's worth looking into that now. And if you're thinking Christmas, New Year's, well, that's booking. So
Right.
not a bad
Absolutely.
idea to put that on the calendar.
Yeah, and I kind of meant to mention this during the dining thing too, is as you're looking at dining reservations too and planning that out and knowing for Disney World you're booking those 60 days in advance is to have that plan. Again, we help you with that, but also know if you didn't get what you were hoping for, you just keep searching. I mean, it might feel like a slight addiction. You keep going on and changing, but just realize everyone's doing the same thing. And especially as it gets closer to that travel date as people make changes or modify or drop things. So, we give you advice about that, but don't give up if you didn't get what you wanted, I would say. But just know that you just sometimes have to keep stocking. We stock all the time. So that's what I call it anyway, for our clients. And again, we hope we can lock in everything you want 60 days
Right.
out. Sometimes that's just not possible.
Right.
Or if your plans change or your party size changes, things like that. We'll try to get through there. But you do want to try to, again, if you're thinking of sit down reservations, you do want to get those as soon as that window opens.
And the larger your party size, the more important it is because, it
Absolutely.
might be easier to find a reservation for 2 or 4, but if you've got 8 or 12, that's tough because a lot of the locations aren't even seating parties of, 8 or 12.
Right.
And so what you need are two separate reservations at the same time. And so that
Mhm.
becomes more difficult if you're waiting until the last minute.
Right.
Last minute reservations do though come open if you're a smaller party. And so that's more likely to
Right.
be available.
Right. So just something to keep in
Yeah.
mind as you're
Yeah.
planning as well.
Right. So I guess, I mean, the next thing that we were thinking about talking about, I don't know if you're prepared to talk about it yet, but Disney
Yeah.
Genie and Disney Genie Plus.
Right. And I'm
I'm
dying.
sorry, I
Your
wanted to
your
talk about it last week and
oh,
that
I know
didn't
we did, and we
happen.
couldn't. And
So,
your cat in the background is hilarious.
oh, yeah, well,
It's like we changed the topic, and then there's a different pose, so it's fantastic.
there are any number of cats who sit there throughout the day. So I'm like, which
Yeah,
one's there right now?
I
He's upset
know. And
because I won't
mine's
let him up
right
here.
here. He's down there. So right by my feet every time. Um, so yeah, so this was rolled out, and again, we've talked about it probably over the past few months that perhaps something might be coming, especially based on other decisions that were made. So this was rolled out. There was kind of immediate feedback from people if they knew the previous system or had opinions and things like that. I think we had kind of made our guesses as to what we thought it might be or what we were hoping it would be.
Mhm.
So it is coming.
Yeah, well, and it's coming this fall. So we don't have a date. We don't know when it's coming. I really actually hope it starts before the 50th because I'd love to have the chance to give it a try. But what we learned is that Disney Genie and Disney Genie Plus are going to be within your My Disney Experience account. And so they'll access it the same way. You'll have to create your accounts and do everything that you would normally do in your My Disney Experience account. Disney Genie looks pretty cool to
Mhm.
me. I mean, I really think that it seems like it wants to be to help you create your touring plan in real time throughout the day, depending on what it looks like. That's at least what the gist that I get
Mhm.
from it.
Right.
And so I sort of like that because I do spend way too much time on the app looking at wait times, and trying to figure out the best attraction to go to next. And if I can put in the list of attractions I want to go to,
Mhm.
and it tells me, okay, here's the best order for the day, or all of a sudden there's only a 15-minute wait over here. So instead of this plan, jump on over to Haunted Mansion or whatever.
Mhm.
That's one less thing that I have to do throughout the day. So I hope that's the way it works because that looks like it would be great. And it makes a lot of sense for the park because what they really want to do is manage the crowds. And so they want you to be happy too. They want to make sure that you're getting to the attractions that you want to get to with the shortest wait time possible.
Right.
And so it makes sense to me um, if that's the way it'll work out. So
I
yeah.
hope so. And I think you're exactly right. I think, again, we can give the best advice going into a park where you should head and things like that. And I think some of that will always remain the same. But again, it's really being nimble with the crowds and what you want to see. And again, I think that your description is spot on. And hopefully that's
Yeah.
what it is, that
Yeah.
personalized to you to be able to
Right.
send you in the right direction. And again, it's all about maximizing your time in the park and having a really good experience.
Yeah. Well, and when I try to help people make a plan, I mean, part of the conversation is, and if it rains at this time, most people are going
Mhm.
to go to inside things, but a lot of outside things are open unless it's, lightning and thundering. So
Right.
you can't, I mean, you can know that in your head, but if you've got an app saying, "Yep, you're right, time to go over to, Dumbo or, wherever because it's
Right.
outside, you can still do it if you're, don't
Mhm.
mind putting a poncho on
Right.
versus Small World or whatever, which will have a 45-minute wait in the rain
Right.
sometimes. So it's just worth I mean, I think it'll be helpful. But then the plus part
Mhm.
is what's very intriguing to me because I mean Disney Genie, it's branded under one thing, but it's really two.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and this is another reason why you really do want to study up on the My Disney Experience app. And I always say to start on that website and really be able to know it. Because when you get on the app, you want to be able to do it that way too, but you want to know where things are, whether
Right.
it's Disney Genie or to change your dining or look at park times. You really want to be able to know all of that before you go
Right.
too. So really being able to know, okay, this is where I want to go rather than getting there and, oh, this is the first time I'm opening it as well. So
Right.
that will
Oh
all
yeah,
be positive.
absolutely. I mean, and with Disney Genie Plus, so Disney Genie Plus is basically the next generation of what FastPass was. And so what we formerly knew as FastPass is now going to be branded under Lightning Lanes under Disney Genie Plus. And so the word fast pass isn't a thing anymore, according to Disney.
Right.
it's
Right.
it's Lightning Lanes and it's Disney Genie Plus. The difference with Genie Plus, of course, is that it is going to come at a fee. And so what we're hearing is at Disney World, it's $15 a day. At Disneyland, it's $20 a day. But it operates very much like selecting your fast passes one at a time. So for those folks who are familiar with what Max Pass was at Disneyland, it seems like Disney Genie Plus at Disneyland is very much similar to what Max Pass was. Again, it's just rebranded.
Right.
At Disney World, this is different. Disney World hasn't had anything exactly like this before, so we'll get used to seeing it. But from what I understand, you select your attractions one at a time. So you purchased a Disney Genie either in advance with your package or that day for $15 per person, or I'm sorry, Genie Plus. Thank you. No, I see.
There's a lot of the words, I know. So I wish we could have them up at the screen. Like, these are the ones. Yeah,
I
there's
know,
so many.
I know. But then with Genie Plus, and then if you purchase Genie Plus, either in advance with your package or that day, you're able to purchase or select your fast passes one at a time as you move through the day in any park if you have park hoppers. And so it's not limited to one park or the park that you're in. You can go to any park, which I loved about Max Pass. Like, I loved being in Disneyland and realizing, you know what? The next thing we want to go on is Radiator Springs Racers, and it's available. And so I want to go ahead and grab a quick bite to eat, head on over to Disney, Disney California Adventure Park. Whew, where's my brain? It's been a long day. And head on to Radiator Springs Racers, and you could do that with Max Pass. And so I'm excited for that in Genie Plus, because I've always wanted to be able to make my fast passes for a different park, and go back and forth for the day. So
absolutely. And we know this is an additional cost for sure, that you already are, spending what you're spending, and then this is additional, but I think it'll be worth it is the best way. That's a simple way of saying that, but to be able to have that, again, when we talk about being nimble or the flexibility or the access to you to be able to see a lot of things, especially that are high priority to you, that Genie Plus will be that option. So again, we've kind of talked about that was probably coming. I think we saw that the writing on the wall, but I'll be curious to see when it does get announced too. So, I mean, in terms of not announced, but unveiled and working.
Right. Well, and I wonder what times of year it'll make more sense to have a Genie Plus, or to just use, the touring plan that Disney Genie puts together for you. So I think that it's going to remain to be seen, when one might want to use one or the other. I have the feeling, I don't know. I mean, I know that there's a lot of controversy on both sides of the coin. I didn't want to go to Disneyland and buy Max Pass. And then I bought it and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's totally worth it. And so that was me. And, and everybody knows that Disney just takes my money anyhow. So that's how we live. That's how, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, in comparison to Universal has that, has Express Pass, and that is significantly more.
I had a family buy Express Pass for $300 per person for one day this summer. $1,200 for their family of 4 to get an Express Pass for one day. So that's the other reason why I look at this. And, I went to Cedar Point and people are paying, I don't even know, it's like over $100 a day.
It is, yeah.
And so I'm like, $15. All right. I expected something more. I expected something more expensive.
Right. So just to kind of put it in perspective that way, obviously tickets at Disney World are higher than you would pay at maybe a Cedar Point or Kings Island, depending where you live, Six Flags, things like that.
Right.
But it certainly could be a lot higher, and it's not. So, and again, we are very conscious of that is an additional cost, but I think especially when we see more and see it rolling out, and we'll test it as soon as we can to really tell you about that. We'll share that value, but I do think there's extreme value in that as well.
Yeah. And again, it's not a requirement, but it's another option.
It's not, exactly. So I think the fact that Disney Genie is available to everyone is great. So that's not extra.
Well, and not everybody goes to the parks only to ride the rides. And I think
that's true.
I don't know if it's a bit of a misnomer, or maybe that's what I thought or expected of Disney on our first trip. But the more I go, Like the last couple of times I went to Epcot, it wasn't about the rides. I mean, we'd hop on
Yeah.
Three Caballeros because there was no line, but that's because there was no line.
Right.
That's not why I was there. I was there for the
Right.
entertainment. I was there for the atmosphere.
Hmm.
I wasn't there for the rides. And so, I mean, I think
Sure.
that also, I mean, everyone goes for a different reason. And
Right.
so there are any number of reasons to buy, after hours parties tickets or things
Hmm.
like that. And I mean, if you want really short lines, yeah, you're paying extra for
Right.
that.
Right.
Um, or you're going right now. Apparently this week, last week,
That's
whew,
what I
no one was in the
know.
parks.
I know. I was like, darn kids are in school. I should have just
Dripping with
gone. I know. We
jealousy,
kept saying
right?
our
Oh,
fellow Mickey travels agents and Let's Adventure travel agents kind of sharing that too about they're like, it is so, and they know crowds. And were like, oh,
I
enjoy it
could
for us.
be there. Looking at the
Yeah,
flights, like, I know I can't do this. I
I
really
know.
want to do this.
And I was looking because I stock flights all the time too, and to various destinations. And I was seeing in November and December, which was pretty shocking. So I'm near Cleveland. So Cleveland to Orlando round trip for $50. And all over the place, not just like a random one. I mean, nonstop, all kinds of things. So that's pretty crazy. Again, really tempting to not say, "Ooh, where
Yeah.
can I line it up with my children's basketball schedules to sneak away?"
I don't think
But
you
yeah,
can. I think you're pretty busy.
or be like a
I don't
day.
know how you're able to do this.
Well, that's why I look like this. Um, so to know that, just keep looking. Again, if you feel comfortable flying or you're thinking about that, Jennifer and I look at certain destinations only, but certainly have clients that are finding some good flights. And again, Jennifer and I are both huge proponents of Southwest Airlines, mainly for the baggage. If you, again, follow along, I love my free suitcases, but also that cancellation and that ability to change your flight and do those kind of things. So that's something I know talking to my clients, fall clients or things like that had booked a while ago, saying just make sure you're thinking about that if that's a concern of having to cancel
Absolutely.
or rebook too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that.
I
Yeah. So
know, I know. So I guess, I think it's important to hop on over to Universal because there is some big
absolutely.
Universal news. Halloween Horror
Yes.
Nights starts this Friday. This Friday is September 3rd, by the way, in case no one else is paying attention to the fact that tomorrow's September.
I know. No, it's crazy.
Yeah, but Halloween Horror Nights starts Friday, September 3rd. Tickets are available. So I just checked again today. Tickets are available most nights of the week, except for Mondays and Tuesdays when they don't have the event. And so earlier, the in like September, the tickets are ranging starting at about $71, which I think is great. And then as you get closer to Halloween, they're upwards of, $100 or more, but that is the advance purchase price. So if
Mhm.
you're waiting until you get there, you could pay
Mhm.
significantly more. I mean, you could pay, I want to say that some of the rates I was looking at give you maybe like a $50 savings
So
to
yeah, so
advance
we
purchase.
will
So
not be live streaming from but if you enjoy Halloween or this is your I'm trying to think of a good Halloween analogy. I don't have
I
one.
love Halloween. I just don't love horror
I enjoy
happening to
Halloween.
me.
Yeah, for me, not a thing. Clearly it is. And we know people that go solely for that. So if you're a Halloween person, comment and let us know, or if this would be on your to-do list. So we should know, kind of like Disney World when they're having parties as well. The parks do close or after hours experiences. They do close early. So the park can close at 5 or 6 p.m. So if you're spending a day at Universal and not going to the party, you just like you just want to keep that in mind as well. So you may not get that full day as well.
Yeah, but then the Halloween Horror Nights tickets, I mean, the parties start at 6:30 and then end at 1 or 2 in the morning, depending
Right.
on which day.
It
And
is
so
a
that's a
full
long
experience.
party. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Universal draws a lot of locals from the Orlando area too. I mean, Disney does as well, but Universal really, I feel like caters a little bit more to that.
Right.
So clearly a huge following to be starting early September, going all the way through Halloween. So if that's of interest, we can help get that booked for you as well. We'll still give you advice, even though we're not going,
Right.
how to maximize your fun at Universal. But and one
Absolutely.
thing too, so Disney has not opened both water parks yet, but Universal has been open. So Volcano Bay, and we've talked about this before as well. It's a great water park if you're visiting the Orlando area, even if you're staying at Disney and you're thinking, oh, which one? Volcano Bay is a great option as well. So that's again at a really accessible price point too. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are a water park family, or maybe you don't even know if you're a water park family or people. It's a great one. And I think they really have a great system in terms of getting on rides and just the
With the
layout
tapu
of it.
tapu and the
Yeah,
love,
just
yeah, I love it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's a missed opportunity. I mean, I try to encourage folks to get the 3 park tickets to head on over, especially if folks are going, not especially, but if you are, a standard water park person, you like the relaxing and, the wave pool, you've got that. But if you're a roller coaster person, if you like extreme slides, they've got that too, and
right,
everything in between. And
right.
so, yeah, my family loves Volcano Bay. I mean, I think I can confidently say that that's our favorite water park
Mhm.
anywhere. And
Yeah.
so I try to encourage people to just take a look. It's not that much more to get the 3 park ticket and to head on over there.
Hmm.
Especially if you've got a park to park ticket for part of the day, like go there in the
Right.
morning and then head on over to Universal or Islands of Adventure later on in the day, because it's warm throughout October at least
Yeah.
and well into November.
Right.
So this is, I don't know. I mean, we're in the Midwest. And so a lot of folks are thinking, oh, it'll be cooler. No, it's hot.
No, no, it's
Like
not.
it could easily be 90 degrees throughout,
Yeah,
Halloween. It's there.
absolutely. We've been there. I mean, we've both been there in the fall numerous times, and
Right.
it is warm. So you may be sweating during the day and maybe throwing a sweatshirt on at night. It's hard to say. And then the advantage of staying at a Universal property as well is that you have that access to get into the parks a little
Mhm.
early as well. So another great advantage. And I mean, there are some really fun rooms that face out on Volcano Bay, and just the layout of getting everything is really close. So Universal is always a great option, but also just keep that water park option in mind too. So
That's such a good
definitely worth it.
point.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's important.
It
We have to
is.
keep working on that. One of these days, we will have a show all about planning a universal vacation and what you can do and what's available, because there is a lot, and they don't have a lot of news happening right now.
Right.
But that's because it's been almost entirely business as usual, and just an excellent experience
Right.
for everyone who's there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, yeah,
So yeah, so don't think we don't love Universal or can answer questions about it. It's just they don't pump out the news in the same way.
right. And they're
So
smaller. It's a smaller property, but they
they are.
still
They're
have, another gate that they're working on. I mean, Epic Universe is still in the plans, and so it's only going to expand.
right, right. So yeah, some other switching to the seas. Great
Right.
news. Disney Cruise Line. So some updates we wanted to
Yeah.
share there too.
My goodness. So, I mean, so much is happening, and, we're excited to see, cruises continuing. And was it last week or the week before last? Right now, the only Disney cruises that are going out are out of the UK, that are cruises at sea that don't stop at a port, and then out of Port Canaveral right now on the Disney Dream that stop at Castaway, the private island in the Bahamas. And the Bahamas put out, a statement, or what's the word I'm looking for? Just
Declaration. I don't.
declaration, an emergency
Yeah.
order, that
Mhm.
anyone who wants to stop at any port in the Bahamas, who is 12 or older, must be vaccinated. And so, starting again with sailing September 3rd, so starting with the Disney Dream sailing on September 3rd, all guests who are wanting to sail the Disney Dream must provide proof of vaccination before boarding the ship. And that's of course 12 plus, because of course younger kids can't. And so they're still allowed to sail if they're younger. But just something to keep in mind if you think that you're sailing or you want to be sailing soon. And this is right now, the declaration goes through early November, but I mean, my expectation is that it'll be extended. I think
Absolutely.
that's something just to maybe even plan on.
I think so. So we've
Yeah.
seen some talk even with the agents we chat with too. So if you're thinking about a cruise, I mean, this kind of, you just want to make sure you're staying updated on all the different rules that are changing as well, but just know that's a deal breaker. I mean, you will get turned away if that's not the case. So you just want to make sure that you're factoring that in to planning an upcoming cruise as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, with cruises, we know a lot of changes have happened. And so Disney Cruise Line also has a discount out. I can't believe I just said those two things
I know. I'm sorry.
in
Did
the
I hear
same
you
sentence.
correctly? I don't know what you're talking about.
Disney Cruise Line has a discount available, but it's not on every sailing, but it's on select sailings in September, October, November on the Disney Dream out of Port Canaveral, 20 to 25% off of specifically VGT category rooms. And that's veranda guaranteed, meaning that you don't pick your veranda room, they pick it for you. But it does guarantee you a veranda room. And some of the pricing looks really tempting. I can't go. I'm going to if we weren't going to the 50th anniversary, we've already talked about it. We were like, we could have gone.
I know.
But
I know. That was the thing when I looked at the cheap flights and I thought, oh gosh.
some of them are really affordable. So if you're thinking about a, last minute, cruise this fall, let us know. We can take a look at what that pricing might be for you. But again, just remember that everyone on your party, 12 or older, must be vaccinated. And there are some extra steps to go through. And so in addition to being required to do the online check-in, you also have to complete a form on the Safe Passage website and have everything printed off and ready to go when you're at port. But again, it's one extra step, but it makes the process so much faster once you arrive for check-in to actually board the ship.
Absolutely. So if you've cruised before, I mean, there's some different steps. If you haven't cruised before or haven't cruised Disney Cruise Line, it might not seem as daunting. You just have to make sure you're following those. And again, if you're booking with us, we're going to remind you of those things and make sure you have that. But it's again, just really making sure. And that's the difference too with cruising. If you haven't cruised, that there's documentation you have to have, and it has to be in order, or you are not getting on that ship. It does not matter. So a little different than, just checking into a hotel or something like that.
Well, it's like international travel. I mean, you
Absolutely.
have to have your documentation, another country isn't going to care. If you show up and you don't have your documentation, you can't do anything. And so that's why Disney Cruise Line is so strict with that. It is. I mean, even if it's closed loop cruise and you're not required to have a passport, it's still international. And so they can't fudge any of it. The rules have to be followed very strictly.
Right. So if you're thinking about a cruise, even this fall, or, thinking ahead, we talk about this every time too. Disney Cruise Line is different than Disney World. So booking as far out as you can is advantageous. That's where you're going to get the best price. You're going to get the best choices and room selection and offerings. And we can help guide you through that. Because again, this is an area it can feel really daunting as well. So that's why you get our free expertise as well. But if you're thinking about a cruise, as far out as that calendar is open, you really do want to be booking that.
Right. Yeah.
So, and who doesn't want to be thinking about going on a cruise?
I know.
So many people, they were seeing photos from some special trips that have been going out. And I literally asked our agency owner what kind of phone she was using. Because I'm like, it just has to be much better. No, it's that it looks that beautiful on Castaway Cay.
And she's just a better photographer than I am, because I've got the same stinking phone and my pictures don't look quite that good.
I think I always struggle with this. Yes, I know. Mine never look as crisp. So she also has a good eye. So that's helping. But just seeing those pictures, you're thinking, oh, I just want to get on a ship. So we can help you do that. It's just exciting that it's happening, and it's been a long wait. And for the crews that have been waiting to sail as well. It's just good news all around. So.
Well, and if you want a beach and an ocean in a different place, there's always Aulani.
There is also not a bad. I wouldn't turn that down either. Yes.
No. And I was just so excited. So Aulani celebrated their 10th anniversary on Sunday. So they first opened their doors to guests on August 29th. 2011. And so it's been 10 years. There's been
Right.
so much exciting news. Like anyone who knows that like Hawaii has my heart. I love Disney World, but
Mhm.
then there's just something absolutely, I hate to use the word magical, spiritual. I don't know. Like
Mhm.
I show up in Hawaii and I feel like there's just something bigger happening there. And then there's
Yeah.
Aulani, which is basically a celebration of Hawaiian culture with storytelling that only Disney could do. And
Mm.
so it's that special. And so, I think folks who are looking, I say this all the time, if you are looking for a beach vacation and you don't care, where that resort is or whatever, maybe Aulani is not for you because this is really a celebration of Hawaiian culture. And so
Mhm.
you're going to get so much more than just a resort that you can plop at any beach, in a tropical location. You're
Right.
getting storytelling, um, you're getting understanding about the Hawaiian language. And it is, I think they're saying it's right now the largest collection of modern or contemporary Hawaiian art
Mm.
because of the fact that local Hawaiian artists were asked to put together pieces. And so, unlike other Disney resorts, like the Riviera, I noticed that we would have the same
Yeah.
art on every floor. That's not the case at Aulani. And so, if you're
Mm.
going to the elevator lobbies, every floor has a different and unique piece of art in it
Mm.
by Hawaiian artists. And it's just one of those things that you learn, I think, about the resort and the more you go.
Sure.
And then of course there's storytelling and it's wonderfully relaxing, amazing pools,
Mm.
beautiful, calm, protected beach, so not a high wake area. And there are definitely places where you can see waves on the island, but Joe Rohde posted quite a bit this past week on Instagram. And so if you um, are interested in learning more about the stories of Aulani, I would say follow Joe Rohde on Instagram and look back over the past week and just see some of the stories that he had there because it was fantastic. Just really eye-opening and educating. But again, if you're interested in, a vacation to Aulani, let us
Mm.
know. We'll help you get there. There's some important things to know about Hawaii, though, too, is that just like anywhere else, they are seeing a resurgence with the Delta variant. And so there are some new rules there around a lot of locations, indoor locations, restaurants, and entertainment venues. If you're indoors, I think the emergency order now has that they're requiring folks to either show proof of vaccination if they're 12 plus or a negative COVID test within the past 48 hours, is what I saw earlier today.
Right.
And so if that's something that you're planning in the near future, just again, plan ahead, know where some of those testing locations are if you're on the island, or plan to do outdoor activities. And that's something special about Hawaii, especially in comparison to where I live, is, we do a lot outside, but so much of what you can do in Hawaii is outside. I mean, think about it.
Absolutely.
um, the hiking and the luau's and obviously the beach time and everything else. And so lots and lots of outdoor activities. It's
And
beautiful.
the Alani is another one that you do want to book as far
Yeah.
out as you can. I mean, it's not a massive resort, so there's only so much space. And again, I think it's been unusual times, so we've been able to find some last minute options, but that is not usually the case.
Right.
So
Good
again,
point.
that's something if you're thinking about that, and typically most people are thinking about that further out because that's more of an investment. You're looking at flights further out, things like that. But again, if we can explore options for you for those, let us know as well.
Absolutely. But yeah, definitely look for the Joe Rohde pieces on
Uh-huh.
Instagram because it was incredible. And
Yeah.
if you've never been to Hawaii before, I recommend, a visit at some point in time in your life. But Aulani, I think, is a great stop. I also think that if you're traveling that far, the longer you can travel, the better. So having
Mhm.
some type of split stay isn't necessarily a bad idea to
Right.
think about too.
Right.
So yeah. Ugh, I'm so ready to get back to Disney World
I
though.
know you are.
I just got home.
Down.
I'm so ready to
Yeah,
go
exactly.
back.
Oh, I know. I know. I don't blame you.
Very
So, well,
fun.
as we get closer to being back, at Disney World. We're going to be there together. Let us know what you want us to maybe check out for you, or if you happen to be in the parks, then let us know. We'd love to run into you. But if there's specific things, we'll try to do them, or things that we can report on or answer questions. We'll definitely be as immersive as we can, as we usually are, but we would love to be able to do that while we're there together as well.
Absolutely. And keep an eye on things, because obviously we'll be posting on various social media sites, depending on what we're doing and what makes sense there. I'm also definitely going to live stream one day at Coronado Springs Resort, because that's where I'll be staying for that trip. And so keep an eye out. And then eventually I'll post videos of the room tours and all of that good stuff. So
yeah, we're staying at different places. So I'll be at Caribbean Beach. So we'll do a live stream there. So we're going to be overlapping and bringing you as much content as we can. So we're excited.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us. If you feel so inclined, it'd be wonderful if you could hit the like button. And then if you don't already subscribe, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And then there's a bell icon if you'd like to be notified of when we go live or post new content. And that way you can jump right on over if we've got something available that you're interested in. So thanks so much for joining us today. Again, let us know anytime if there's certain things that you would like us to discuss. Hop on in the chat when we are live. And